Well, so now let's say we need to find out the records wherein we want to specify a range. Now let's say we want to specify the range as the amount should be between 1000 and 5000. So in that case we would specify the query as select star from customer where amount between 1000 and 5000. So here what we expect is that we should get all the records which are in between the range of 1000 and 5000. So I select the query, I execute it. Now here we go. What we get, the result is we get the value of 1000, 2500 and 5000. Now this is because it is giving us the records which satisfy the condition of a range that is between 1000 and 5000. Okay. Now let's have a look again at all the records. We say select star from customer, we get all the data. Now let's say what we want is we want a grouping total. Now what do we mean by that? Now let's say we want to see the total amount for the city New York, as well as we want to see the total amount of the city Mumbai. In that case, we'll specify the query as select star from customer where, or maybe we say select star from customer, oh sorry, we say select sum of amount from customer group by city. So here what we are trying to obtain is we want the total amount, that is the sum of amount from our customer table, and we want to group it by the column city. So we select the query, we execute it. Now here we go. This is grouped by city. Now it looks slightly confusing since we don't know which city which amount belongs to. Now we can just slightly modify the query and we can say select city comma sum of amount from customer group by city. So to the above query, the only change we are making is we are also viewing the city column. So here we are expecting the city name, the sum of amount for the respective city from the customer table, and for that we are grouping it by city. We select the query, we execute it, here we go. For city Mumbai, we get the respective total, and for city New York, we get a respective total. Pretty cool. Well, now let's say a different scenario wherein we need to see all the records from the customer table where city like, and we want to see all the cities which starts from M. So we would say select star from customer where city like M percentage, and I close it in quotation mark. I select the query, I say execute. So the result out here, what we get is we get all the cities whose name starts with M, and then we specify a percentage. Now what does that mean? We want to specify that the first character of the city should be M and rest other characters can be anything. That is the reason we specify a percentage. Therefore, we get only cities whose name, or rather whose first character starts with M, and the rest of the characters could be anything. Okay. Now let's see a negative condition. So if we say select star from customer where city not like. Again, we say M percentage. Now, what does this mean? We want all the records from the customer table where city is not starting with M. Makes sense, right? In the previous condition, what we saw is we wanted all the cities starting with M, and now in this query, what we are actually expecting that we want all the records where city is not starting with M. So if we execute it, we select it, we execute it, and we get the data, and the city starting with M is excluded. Okay. Okay. So earlier we have seen how do we insert a record. So what we used to do is we used to go to Object Explorer, and then we select our respective database, and if at all it is collapsed, we expand it, we select the respective table, we right click it, and we click on edit. And then here what we can do is we can insert our record, right? Or maybe we can modify a particular record. So now let me close this, and what we are trying to achieve is we want to insert a particular record, but then we want to do it through a query. So how do we do that? Now earlier what we have seen select statements. Now the purpose of select statement is to select the data, or rather to view the data. Okay, but if we want to insert a record, what we need to do is we have to use an insert query. So let's add a particular record. Now to do that, what we would do is we would say insert, okay, and we say into our table name, that is customer. So here we say we want to insert a record into customer table, and we would specify the values, that is for the name. Suppose we need Jim, and since again we know that name is character, so we put it in quotation mark, we close the quotation mark, and then we say city. Let's say maybe city is Mumbai, and we specify that again in quotation mark, since again that is the city name is also character, and then we specify an amount, maybe 500. Of course 500 would not be in quotation mark because that is not a character but it is a number. So just we need to add one more keyword, that is values. So the query would read like insert into customer the table name values, and in parenthesis or bracket we specify the values for the columns which we want to have a value. So the first value Jim would be for name, second value Mumbai is for city, and the amount is for 500 would be into amount. So let me select this query and execute it. So now we get the result as one row is affected. Now what does that mean? It simply means that in our table one record has been affected. So it is actually a one record is inserted. Now how do we cross check it? How do we confirm whether that it has been inserted or not? Yes, you might have rightly guessed. What we need to do is we need to select the data. So we would say select star from customer, and we select the query, we execute it, and if we scroll a bit, cool, here we go. Our new record is inserted. That is Jim, city is Mumbai, and amount is 500. One thing you might have noticed, I never mentioned anything for ID. Again, you might recall that ID is auto-generated, or rather it is auto-incremented. So the ID is taken care for me by SQL Server. I never mentioned anything for ID. We only inserted values for name, city, and amount. That's cool. Well, So earlier we saw how do we insert a record. So to insert a record, we use the insert into statement, right? Now, suppose we want to modify a particular record. We want to make some changes into an existing record. So how do we do that? We have to use an update query. So we say update the table name, that is our customer, set some column name. Now, maybe we want to modify a column amount. So we say amount is equal to, and whatever value I want. Suppose I need 700. So if we only execute this particular query, then it would update all the records. It would change the amount to 700 for all the records in the customer table. But I don't want to do that. What I want to do is I want to change the amount to 700 for Jim. So what I could say where name is equal to Jim, or alternatively, I could say ID equal to some value. So if I say name equal to Jim, what that would do, it would change the amount as 700 for all the records where name is Jim. Again, I don't want to do that. If at all my table has more records with name Jim, so it would update all the records for Jim. But I actually want to change for this particular record wherein name is Jim, city is Mumbai, and amount is 500. So I would say where ID is equal to 5. So I'm ensuring that it would update only one particular record, and to be precise, it is this record. So I would select the query, I would execute it. So again, I get the same message, one row is affected. I got this message even when I inserted a record, and we get the same message when we update a particular record. It means that one record has been affected. So in this context, it means actually that one record has been updated. Once again, how would I cross check or how would I confirm whether my record is actually updated? So well, again, you guessed it correctly. What we need to do is we can actually select the record. So we say select star from customer, we select the query, we execute it, we scroll a bit, and then we can see here the amount has been updated from 500, which was its earlier value. It has been changed to 700. Okay.